All right, let's dive into the KIN 725 assignment on learning objectives. This is one of those assignments where the line between a good grade and a great one, it all comes down to a very specific formula. So, if you've ever found yourself staring at an educational goal, wondering, how do I actually measure this? Well, you're in the right place. We are going to break that formula down step by step. Let's do this.
Okay, so here's what we've got on tap. First, we're going to start with the big picture, how to take a huge goal and break it down into actual teachable content. Then we'll get into something called the 3 learning domains. After that, we'll dissect the anatomy of a perfect objective. We'll use a Frisbee example to make it super clear. And finally, we'll connect all of this directly to how you're graded so you know exactly what you need to do to get that top mark.
So really, it all boils down to this one question, right? What is the actual difference between a good learning objective and a truly great one? I'll tell you right now, it's not just about sounding smart or using fancy words. It's all about having a clear, powerful, and frankly, simple structure. And by the time we're done here, you are going to know that formula inside and out.
Okay, first up, from goal to content, we've got to understand the flow of this assignment. See, it all starts with this one big high-level program goal, and your job is to take that goal and break it down into smaller, specific, and actually teachable content areas. So here's the sample goal from the assignment itself. All students will be able to throw and catch a variety of manipulates with proper form and accuracy. You can think of this like a mission statement for your program. It's awesome, it's aspirational, but you can't really grade a student on this directly, can you? It's just way too big. And that's exactly where the content areas come into play.
So, this is how it works. You take that one big goal and you break it down into 3 distinct content areas. Let's say the goal is throwing and catching. Well, your content areas could be something like Frisbee, maybe lacrosse, and, say, football. Each one of those becomes its own little world where you can teach and, more importantly, assess that bigger overarching idea. All right, Section 2, the 3 learning domains. Now, it doesn't stop with just picking Frisbee or lacrosse. For each one of those content areas, the assignment asks for another layer of detail. You've got to address the whole student, and that means we need to think about 3 totally different types of learning.
And here's the key takeaway. For just one content area, let's stick with Frisbee. You are going to write 3 separate objectives. You'll have one for the psychomotor domain, which is, the physical skill. Then one for the cognitive domain, that's the thinking, the strategy. And finally, one for the affective domain. That's all about teamwork, sportsmanship, the feelings part. And you'll do that whole process again for lacrosse and again for football.
Okay, Section 3, Anatomy of an Objective. This right here, this is the heart of the assignment. This is the answer to that question we started with. How in the world do you write these 9 different objectives? Well, like I said, there's a formula, and this formula has 3 absolutely essential parts.
See, an objective is only really useful, only truly accessible, if it's completely crystal clear. And that clarity comes from nailing these 3 parts: a behavior, a condition, and a criterion. Trust me, if you're missing even one of these, your objective just falls apart. It becomes vague, and it's pretty much impossible to measure.
All right, Section 4, the Frisbee example. Theory is one thing, but let's see how this actually works in the real world. We're going to take that psychomotor objective for the Frisbee content area and pull it apart piece by piece.
Okay, so here it is, the full psychomotor objective from the example. The student will be able to pass a Frisbee to a laterally running teammate using the backhand pass technique each attempt during modified gameplay. That's a mouthful, but listen to it. Can you start to hear those different parts we just talked about? The behavior, the condition, the criterion, they're all in there.
First, let's pull out the behavior. The behavior answers the question, what will the student actually do? And here it's pass a Frisbee using the backhand pass technique. See how specific that is? It's not just throw a Frisbee. It's an observable physical action. Okay, so that's the what. But under what circumstances are they doing it?
Well, that brings us to the condition. The condition tells us the circumstances. In this case, it's to a laterally running teammate. This is so important. The student isn't just chucking it at a cone. They're passing to a moving target. That adds context, it adds difficulty, and it makes the whole thing way more meaningful to assess. So we have the action and the context, but how well do they have to pull it off?
And that, my friends, is the criterion. This is the standard. It answers, how well must it be done? The standard here is each attempt during modified gameplay. That's a super clear benchmark for success.
You could just as easily say something like 8 out of 10 times or successfully within 3 seconds. The point is, it has to be measurable. So there you have it. Behavior, condition, criterion. That's the whole magic formula.
Okay, Section 5, how you'll be graded. So why have we been hammering this behavior, condition, criterion formula so hard? Simple, because mastering it is without a doubt the #1 key to getting an exemplary grade on this assignment. Let's prove it. Let's look at the actual rubric.
First things first, just look at the points. The content section, that's where your 9 objectives live, is worth 20 points. 20 out of a total of 30. That's 2/3 of your entire grade for this thing. So yeah, this is absolutely where you need to be putting your focus.
Now check out the actual language here. For an acceptable grade, the rubric says your objectives are not easily observable or accessible. But for exemplary, it says they are thorough, specific, and can be easily assessed. That is not a coincidence, people. That language is talking directly about our formula. Using the behavior condition criterion framework is literally what makes an objective specific, observable, and easy to assess. It's the whole ballgame.
And one last thing, please don't let the easy points slip away. The last 10 points are for APA formatting and basic writing mechanics. To get into that exemplary category, you gotta be flawless here. So double check your cover page, make sure your font and margins are right. That final bit of polish, it really, really matters.
So look, if you only remember one thing from all this, make it this. That behavior condition criterion formula, that's your key to everything. This isn't just some random busy work for a class. This is the professional standard for how you write objectives that actually work. Objectives that guide real learning and let you assess it in a way that's fair and meaningful.
Because at the end of the day, this isn't really about one grade on one assignment, is it? It's about building a core skill, the skill of designing truly effective instruction. So I'll leave you with this to think about. Now that you have the formula, now that you know the secret, what kind of powerful learning experiences are you going to go out and design? Good luck with it.